In the South Island of New Zealand are the slow-moving waters, the town of Waimati, where the cars are fast. There's a big turnout each year for the local street race, where hundreds of drivers get their adrenaline fix and where spectators can even watch from the hotel balcony. It's a truly rock and roll racecourse where the town street provides one of the most unique motorsport experiences in the country. The Waimati 50 was where it all started in 1959 with 50 laps around the houses. It was a race win for a young Bruce McLaren who would go on later that year to become the youngest Formula One race winner. The cars have come a long way since those days. The Waimati 50 has become a Kiwi automotive celebration of sideways action from a historic catalogue of motorsport machinery. You're watching highlights of the 2019 Waimate 50 Motorsport Festival, celebrating 60 years of street racing in New Zealand. These days, with health and safety, it's a pretty big surprise to see a small town transformed into a motor racing circuit. But that's exactly what the South Canterbury community in Waimati have achieved. It's a festival atmosphere for all ages, where the cars speed around the local shops downtown, with spectator views aplenty. The modern-day Waimati 50 features a huge lineup of vehicles from a massive array of motorsport codes and classes, from 2 wheels to 4, rally cars, touring cars, and everything in between. The spirit of the original Waimati 50 lives on in the demonstration races, with historic saloons, muscle cars, and big horsepower providing the entertainment. It's a mammoth job to bring it all together, and it wouldn't be possible without event organiser Rob Aikman.
We started approximately 8 weeks ago building this track, and it's taken a massive team to be able to assemble it, and we've got a really good team that we've built up over a 10-year period, and they're really, really good and well trained, do an excellent job, great volunteers, great operationally on machines and everything else, so it's fantastic what they do, and it's a huge task. You just have to look around.
What about the volunteers? You've got a massive team here. How many people are out on track? You've got all of the Royal Fire Brigade, we're talking quite a lot of team.
Oh, yeah, a huge team, and they all got their separate jobs, and they all do a wonderful job. But there's around about close to 200 altogether. And there's some people that aren't here at the moment that have helped over the weeks and progressively in the build up to this event. So, a huge team, a huge effort, and a good community spirit that's pulled this off. And that's what it takes, really. It takes a whole town to get in behind an event of this magnitude. And it is a big thing to have, and it's not only here. I'll challenge anybody around anywhere to undertake this. It's a pretty big feat.
The Aikman family has played a big part in the modern revival of the Waimati 50 street races. Kurt Aikman has been one of the long-standing drivers behind the wheel of an RB30-powered Holden VL Commodore.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, now this car, Mr. Aikman, is pretty special, isn't it? It's something about this car is the only big car been on the streets in the last 5-10 years or something?
Yeah, that's correct, Brendan. It's actually the only car and driver that's done all 10 events.
All 10 events, and your family, you guys must be so proud of what you've accomplished.
We are, and we're especially proud this year to do the 60th anniversary event. It's just magic, and the crowd, we can't believe the numbers we got here this weekend. It's so cool.
You're coming up on track soon. It's the Alice Leah Invitational, isn't it?
Yeah, that is. I'm not sure if I'm driving in that one yet, but I'll definitely be in the Mount Shot muscle cars.
All right, there he goes. Watch out, Mr. Aikman, one of the longest standing, beautiful retro rivalry. Back to you, up in commentary.
A big name on the entry list for the 60th anniversary was New Zealand rally champion Hayden Paddon. Back again with the AP4 spec Hyundai i20 rally car, serving up plenty of sideways entertainment.
Hayden, welcome back to the Waimati 50. Excited to be here, obviously?
Oh, definitely. It's always a highlight coming down here, and especially when you've got weather like this, it's a great weekend out.
You meaning business this year, or just you seem pretty relaxed, so a bit of 50-50?
Oh, look, well, I think tomorrow we'll put on a bit of show and, yeah, try and do a few donuts and go a bit sideways. At the moment, we're just trying to get the car dialed in. We've never actually had the car in tarmac specification before, so it's not handling the best at the moment, so we'll try and work that out, and once we're on top of that, then we'll have some fun.
Well, you also just launched your own book as well.
Yeah, we've got a book out this year, so yeah, all's out there on paper now, so no going back, but no, it's a good read.
There was plenty of two-wheel action as part of the racing schedule. A fantastic lineup of motorcycles and sidecars on display.
Well, that on the track now, we welcome the two-wheel boys. So Scott Structural bringing you the demonstration run for the bikes. Jaden Scott from Scott Structural's out there on his KTM Super Duke. Have a look out there for Kevin Beaumont on the Ducati Panigale. It's a World Superbike spec bike. There is a precedent for motorcycle racing here at the Waimate 50. Great to see them back. They were did a demonstration for us over the last couple of years, but they've certainly swelled in numbers. And looking forward to seeing some two-wheeled action here on the streets. The unforgiving streets, you'd have to say, certainly if you're riding on two wheels of the Waimate 50. So New Zealand has a rich tradition in motorcycle racing worldwide. Some pretty neat bikes on display. Terry Reid from Blenheim will be out there on a Honda RC30. That's a fairly rare machine in its own right. This is Seth Devereaux by the look of it on an MV Augusta. 32 is Dave Reesby on the classic sidecar. There's a few of them in the field as well. You'll tip your hat to the gymnastic ability of the swinger, as they call them, the man or women on the side of the chair. In the case of Dave Reesby, that's Sue Vanderhoort doing the swinging for him. Dave is the driving force behind the Southern Classic. That's an amazing event. Been down there a couple of times. You know, Andrew Stroud and his oldest son Jacob were down here last year. No Stroudy this year, but still a plenty good turnout of bikes for the demonstration here at the Waimate 50.
It wouldn't be the Waimate 50 without open wheelers, and while some of the more modern examples shy away from the rough and tumble of street racing, there was still an amazing display of machinery, with historic Formula Fords and vintage race cars putting on demonstrations throughout the weekend.
For getting into motorsport, it's kind of that step out of karting, isn't it? Into the next.
Yeah. I mean, you can go the Formula V route, and everyone says now you can go into the Toyota 86s, but to learn car setup, car control, everything that you need to know to be a good race driver, you need to be in one of these. Away we go with the historic cars and historic Formula Fords here at the Waimate 50. We'll just let them sort themselves out for a lap or two. There is Nigel Barkley just through in fourth place there. And two of the names to look out for, Van Diemen, obviously. Nowadays, Van Diemen go to a Australian conversion, Van Diemen Stealth, Spectrum, another, Lola. So many amazing brands that all sort of had Formula Fords back in the day. Elfin, incredible. And they haven't changed that much in performance. It's still a 1600cc Ford Cortina engine. Wow. There's only very limited modifications that you can do. The racing is always super, super close. Andy McElrace, the late, great Ashley Stitchbury, all dipped their toes in the water in Formula Fords. It just goes on and on and on in New Zealand motor racing. Glenn Tulett from the South Island was a real stalwart. Jason Richards was a past New Zealand Formula Ford champion.
Mate, you're a book of knowledge, aren't you? Didn't I see also Greg Murphy's son is actually competing?
Murph
he was at the
Murph
Supercars,
is doing
right?
the new season, yeah. Murph himself raced Formula Fords.
Wow.
Don't think he was a champion in Formula Fords. He was in Formula Brabham. There's another look at the Stanton Corvette. There's that sprint car I was talking about. Have a look at the tail tank on that. Looks like something that wouldn't be out of place at the Templeton Speedway or the Ruapuna Speedway it is now, or Western Springs.
You don't want to dice with the rear of that on those concrete walls.
Well, you don't want to get any of these cars anywhere near the concrete walls, I would say.
Check out the rear of that.
Well, you think when that car sort of came into being in the 50s and 60s, that was state of the art. I mean, it looks a little bit sort of Mickey Mouse now, but I mean, it's not. It's a part of the history, and there's another part of the history. That's that sprint car I was talking about. Just saw Nigel Barkley in that three-way battle at the back of it. Nigel not only has he run that car since the inception of it, the Van Diemen, but he's also managed some of the top drivers in New Zealand. I said to him jokingly yesterday, I said, Nigel, we're doing a live stream tomorrow. There'll be plenty of time to have a chat, so why don't you come up and tell me where all the bodies are buried in motorsport? And he laughed and he said, I said, because you'd know, because you've been around. He ran the Ford Telstars back in the 2-litre touring car days. He's managed Paul Radisich. I know he had a hand in some of the career, especially the 2-litre touring days of Ken Smith, who we mentioned before.
Yep.
He's been there and done that, and he's also done it in Australia. So, he, like I say, he knows where all the bodies are buried. He knows all the secrets.
There's some amazing names here at the Waimate 50 this weekend as well, and you see that throughout the field. And just this history, we're very, very lucky to have all these guys commit and come along and just show us the 60th, show us a piece of what's actually gone on this track. And if you really do want to sort of have another glimpse at it, check out the waimate50.co.nz website or on the Facebook page. There's so many cool pictures of back in the day. Like, they've got 2 massive trucks full of timers. It's not electronic back in the day, were they?
It's a stopwatch.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So older sports cars out in the field as well for the vintage and pre-85 Formula Fords. These guys have just started to have a little bit of a battle within themselves here, which is great to see. Because that's a hallmark of Formula Ford racing, close competition.
Plenty more action to come from the 2019 Waimate 50 Motorsport Festival. Stick around. After the break, we go V8 racing with the Mount Shop muscle and touring cars. You're watching highlights of the 2019 McEwen Petroleum Waimate 50 Motorsport Festival, where the crowds have come in their thousands to soak up a Kiwi day out in the sunshine. Shane Allen, the Mount Shop Rattler Mustang, heating things up on track as we get set to go racing with the Mount Shop muscle and touring cars. There's nothing like the sound of a big V8 thundering around the circuit, but one man to watch out for this year in the muscle car races is Clark Proctor in his fan favourite Mark 1 Ford Escort. A wolf in sheep's clothing with a Nissan V6 under the hood.
Yeah, dragged the Escort out of Highlands. Last time I used it was ironically here a couple of years ago, where we were fortunate enough to win the Waimate 50 trophy. So it's a real privilege to actually have your name on a trophy with Bruce McLaren. So yeah, it seemed appropriate to bring this one back and have some fun, because it's a bit of a crowd favourite, the wee thing, and it's great to put on a show. Yeah, it's still identical to the way it was built in 2008, and it's done. It's filled up over 2 logbooks on the amount of meetings that it's done. It's done GD1, GD2. It's done probably in excess of 30 Dunlop targets, and numerous car club and hill climbs, and it's just such a well-used car. It's been fantastic.
Well, the stage has been set here for one of the big races of the weekend, the Mount Shop muscle and touring cars for the first time at the McEwen Petroleum Waimate 50. Let's join Phil Dark and Brendan White for race 3 of the weekend.
On the outside, representing the muscle cars, it's Dean Henson from Tauranga. Inside, probably still representing the muscle cars, it's Clark Proctor. The flag is about to go down here at Waimate. The green's in the air. We are racing. Fantastic start coming from Stu Rogers. He split them and raced away. Good start too from Kurt Aikman. Remember, it is gentleman racing until the red mist comes down. Henson slots into second. Then we go back to Proctor. Then it's Aikman. Then it's Hemi Toy. Behind him, it would be Grant Rivers by the look of it. A good start in that fastback Mustang car that he campaigns regularly in the tarmac rallies around New Zealand. The Targa's, in fact, doing the regional Targa when he leaves here at Waimate. Then Lillyman. Then we go back to Andy Duffin, I think, driving the Green Brothers Mazda. So everyone has negotiated the first couple of turns quite successfully. Proctor wants to argue with Henson about the second and third spots. Quite content to sit behind him at the moment. Yeah, Patrick Lilliman getting all kinds of sideways in the little Datsun. He's chasing on to the front bunch. Meantime, we concentrate on this battle. The battle of the yellow cars, as sideways as you like, was Dean Hansen. Well, you know, in a normal race situation, there would have been 2 cars gone past him. But you can put on a show, you can get sideways, you can hold your position here at Waimate, and that's what we're seeing. The Doctor, Clark Proctor, in the front now, in the logical group. Nissan V6 powered Escort. Then it's Hansen in the mega horsepower HQ. Then we go back, it's talking of mega horsepower, the big turbo working in the Nissan of Stu Rogers.
This is the Mount Shop last race for the muscle cars. Oh, a little bit sideways there from the green machine. And this, we swap over. These guys are doing a fantastic job at just sharing the lead. But I think when we get to that final lap, Phil, one of those final laps, which is coming up very shortly, the gloves will be off. There we go.
Dean Hansen just maybe just probably wasn't intentional, but maybe just gave Clark Proctor a bit of a love tap as they went into Slee Street that time. That'll get the juices flowing for Proctor. Hansen's certainly going to win the horsepower battle. You just watch the way he just hits the throttle and the back of that car just steps out. That's what the public want to see for sure. Look at this, as sideways as you like, through the flying finish. In fact, he flirted there with the the finish line marquee there for a little while. Nearly tagged it with the right rear of the Holden. Is Hemi. Running behind him is,
last year's winner of the Alistair was Andy Duffin, sitting in behind him in the RX.
In the RX
short. Yep.
3, yeah, that's right. Here's Proctor coming back again. So,
checkered flag, that is the checkered flag.
So Dean Hansen caps off what has been an amazing debut here for the NZ Central Muscle Car Holden HQ. He's made believers of a lot of people here in the ITM Street Attack, and now he's taken out the Mount Shop feature event for the muscle and touring cars. There is the man on your screen, car number 81 in the Central Muscle Car Group. Give him a huge round of applause. Show your appreciation for all these guys. They put on a fantastic show for you over the weekend. This will be the last time we see these guys out, so maybe time for a bit of an expression session. Certainly got the horsepower, you can see that.
The action continues well into the evening at the McEwen Petroleum Waimate 50. Each year, the North versus South Drift Challenge puts on a show of pro-level drifting. There's a freestyle drifting demonstrations in between the racing lineup. A great opportunity for the local Drift South series to mix it up with drivers from the Valvoline D1NZ Drifting Championship. The drift show is led by 2-time New Zealand champion Daniel Woolhouse, otherwise known as Fanger Dan. Driving the Century Batteries Ford Mustang RTR, Fanger Dan brings a selection of North Island-based drifters to the Waimate 50, where the boys from the south go head-to-head for bragging rights as the Waimate 50 Drift Champion.
So here we are at the Waimate 50. This is my 5th year in a row. Such an awesome community and everything down here. And it's so good to bring a good bunch of guys with me to put on a show. First time in Waimate with the Mustang, so yeah, really cool. We were hoping to bring the Ford Falcon back down, the 4-seater, to take people for hot laps, but it didn't quite get there, so hopefully we'll have that here next year.
2-time New Zealand champion Darren Kelly was on hand for a bit of fun in his B car, swapping out his 800 horsepower R35 GTR for the trusty Nissan Skyline R34.
No, it's really awesome to have the 34 back out. First time driving it in about 3 years, so it's good to finally get a motor back in it. A lot of time and effort's gone into the 35 over the last 3 years of competition, and haven't really had a chance to get into this car. So it's pretty cool to have this back out, and Waimate's a pretty iconic event, and it's pretty cool to be back on a street course.
The man to beat around Waimate for the Drift Challenge is none other than pro driver Andrew Redwood, piloting the V8-powered FCRX7 to back-to-back Waimate Drift King titles.
I don't know about being the king of Waimate, but I definitely enjoy coming back here. And yeah, the town's awesome. It's always a fun time coming down here and just racing all day and then partying all night. I think I'll just make a point not to beat my competitor, but to try and win the crowd. Just being on their door and my lead runs, making sure I'm sticking it to the wall and just making it look real exciting.
The Alice Lee Farms North vs South Drift Show is held on Saturday night, where the North Island drivers take on the South head-to-head in a battle tree format.
Got the party lights up front.
There's no rules, not like normal drifting competition anyway. But with no judging officials, it all comes down to who can win the crowd vote in tandem elimination, where proximity is everything. Each driver competes in a lead and chase run before the fans cheer for their favourite driver. The drivers with the best crowd response go through to the next round.
Hands in the air, ladies and gentlemen, if you think Andrew Redwood.
The sun was just setting in Waimate, but things were already getting wild.
Oh! Gaz Whiter versus Glenn Cupich, Drift South champion. What do you think, Gaz? Troy Campbell in the little SR BMW.
There was plenty of carnage in the first round of battles. The South putting in some good laps early on. Christchurch's filthy Phil Sutherland, the one to watch in his V8-powered Nissan S15. Fanger Dan was the crowd favourite, going door to door with Drift South champion Dan Curry.
Left foot looks back at Dan Curry. Dan Curry's hunting down that red corner. Fanger Dan puts a hand in the air.
Sam Dunfoy was bringing the four-door sedan swing in the A31 Zafiro. Another victory for the South.
Team Gusto in the A31 Zafiro.
Redwood, the defending champion, was a man on a mission in the quarterfinals. Waimati voting him in to the top four.
Logan Mooney trying to fend off that hungry FC RX-7. Look at your defending Drift King, Andrew Redwood. Oh. There are 6 national D1NZ championship titles on track right now. Line up that red quarter. Flames spitting out of the R34. Fanger Dan Woolhouse, two-time New Zealand champion, bringing his Ford Mustang RTR to the Waimati 50. Hand out the window, Sam Dunfoy.
It was an OMT one more time battle for Darren Kelly and Gaz Whiter, two of New Zealand's best, putting on an epic display of pro drifting.
They kiss.
Darren Kelly, make some noise.
Darren Kelly getting the victory from the crowd. As the cream rose to the top, it would be a North-North, South-South semi-final. Phil Sutherland and Sam Dunfoy getting entangled.
Oh! Can you believe it? Friendly fire, the two South Island boys. Andrew Redwood tries to close back up in. Darren Kelly took it wide, allowed him to do that. Now look at the speed from Andrew Redwood trying to get up on that A-pillar.
Andrew Redwood was looking unstoppable, sending his mate Darren into battle for third and fourth.
Just coming in super hot all over the red quarter.
A pair of Japanese sedans sideways on the streets. It was a victory for the South, with Sam Dunfoy getting the vote in his A31 Zafiro. The final battle of the night was under the cover of darkness, a one more time matchup between filthy Phil Sutherland and defending champ Andrew Redwood. Redwood, the Californian Kiwi, making it 3 from 3 with another victory at the Waimate 50.
What a chase from Andrew Redwood.
In the Nagcat FCRX7, Andrew Redwood.
Yeah, happy driving, Phil, and thanks to all the crowd, man. That's awesome, 3-peat. So, yeah, cheers for having me down again, and it's been a good time.
Well, nothing but madness from the drifters, who always put on an entertaining display. After the break, we go racing once again in the Ellerslie Farms Invitational Feature Race.
So this is a very special occasion here at Waimate. Ken McEwen, who is the boss and the main sponsor here through McEwen Petroleum of the Waimate 50, and a very special passenger sitting beside him. This is Josh Timms. He was in the original 1959 race here at Waimate. He battled long and hard with Bruce McLaren, so this is pretty darn special indeed. And we'll be popping down to have a chat to him once he's done a couple of ceremony laps here on the streets of Waimate. Must bring back some pretty amazing memories for you.
It has brought back a lot of memories. I've never seen so many cars assembled in my life. And it's great to see a lot of older people around here whom I haven't seen for years and years. And I appreciate being allowed to come here. Thank you very much.
I guess that you'd have memories of back in the day in the first Waimate 50 here back in 59?
Oh yes, I do. Completely different circuit, and this looks a lot safer. It really is.
And I guess back in your day it was all hay bales, and you mentioned water. They had a real wet one here one year, didn't they?
Yes, they did. They did. And I remember that well. But I'll never forget Waimate. It's a great place to be.
Nothing but smiles. Fantastic to have Josh Timms with us for the 60th anniversary of the McEwen Petroleum Waimate 50, celebrating 60 years of Kiwi street racing. 87 years old and raced in the original Waimate 50 in 1959 as the boys from the D1NZ give us a display of team drifting downtown and around the hairpin. We're getting set for the big event, the Ellerslie Farms Invitational feature race.
So the cheers ring out around the start area here at the McEwen Petroleum Waimate 50. There is a replica of the original Waimate 50 trophy being held up by Rob Aikman. Red flag comes up. That means the engines will be fired and we'll be underway very shortly with the Ellerslie Farms feature race. On the front row, it is the G-Man, past New Zealand Trans Am champion. That is Grant Sylvester. Alongside of him, it is Brett Stevens from Motueka in what I make is probably his third collectible car, and that is the Chevy-powered Renault Dauphine. Next row back, it is the battle of the Triple S Datsuns. It is Randall Diggs and Bruce Brown. Then we go back to Stuart Jack, by the look of it, in the XU1 Tirana, and then it's one of the Densham family in the Mark 1 Escort. In there as well as Gavin Jackson in the Triumph 2000, 2.7 PI. Behind him, Morgan Wallace in the Mark 2 Jag. Further down through, you can see the purple little Anglia. That is Neil Green. Away we go, 6 laps to complete the Ellerslie Farms Invitational, and a great start from Motueka's Brett Stevens. Grant Sylvester slots into second place. Randall Diggs has got the better of Bruce Brown. He'll go into third as they head down into Slee Street and start what should be a pretty epic battle. Sylvester wrestling the 38 Chev around these 90-degree turns. We'll get a bit of a glow on him, but it'll be more than a glow. It'll be a sweat up by the time he's finished 6 laps. No such luxury as power steering in a lot of these cars. All of them with historical significance right through New Zealand motor racing, but certainly, as you heard Rob say, this car at the front of the field, the car piloted and into the folklore of New Zealand motor racing by Ron Sylvester. It's his son Grant driving it today. Already starting to get a little bit of a break now in front of Brett Stewart. Looks like Bruce Brown's got up in front of Randall Diggs there. There's Keith Fleury in the VW just going by. Behind him in the ex-Jim Palmer XU1, that's John Marsland. So it is the iconic number 66 out in the front at the moment. Bruce Brown wants to get a little bit closer there. This is Randall Diggs in the Datsun Triple S. Gavin Jackson in second in the sales rep's favourite from the 70s, and that's the Triumph PI. Then it is the Renault. Then it's Grant Sylvester, just the last of the late breakers, and soaring on the wheels, trying to get those big front tyres turned in time to keep Bruce Brown at bay, and he's managed to do it as they work their way through the Laurie Forestry chicane and out onto the main street here, Queen Street at Waimate. Sylvester wants to argue the spot, goes to the outside as they run into the Scott Structural 90-degree turn and head down towards the Pro Event chicane this time. Randall Diggs decides he needs to move in. He doesn't want to brush the tyre stacks that make up the chicane as they head through the Rural Transport corner down towards the Waimate Event Centre. You get a great look at that 38 Chevy getting a little bit of pressure coming to Sylvester now from Brett Stevens. Barry Brown moves up in front of Stuart Jack, move into a spot in the little Datsun Triple S. He goes up into 4th place now. In fact, make it 3rd. Sylvester's gone back into the front, but they're side by side as they head down onto Queen Street once again. Track position this time comes from Brett Stephen. Will he assume the lead as they go down towards the Royal Tavern? We're watching the battle for 2nd and 3rd. Sylvester working hard to keep Brett Stevens at bay. Good recovery from Randall Diggs, putting the pressure on Chris Fleury now. So Datsun on VW. Then we go back to Stuart Jack. Well, it's one of the most recognisable cars in New Zealand motor racing. That is the 1938 Chevy Coupe of Ron Sylvester, being raced by his son here, Grant, as Brett Stephen goes up in front of him in the little Renault Dauphine that's got a 327 Chevy small block sitting just behind the passenger's seat, mid-mounted. Gavin Jackson gets all racy, tries to get around the outside of Stuart Jack, and I think manages to do so. So the laps wind down here in the Ellerslie Farms Historic Saloons. Who's going to see the checkered flag first? Sylvester inches his way into the front, tries the wide line. Brett Stevens uses the little bit more nimbler handling of the Renault to try and get up into first place. Can't get the job done for the moment, though. Through the Laurie Forestry chicane they go, 3 abreast. That's not going to work. They're going to squeeze themselves back into single file as they turn out of the chicane and head towards the finish line here. Sylvester in the front, making that Chevy as wide as possible. It's pretty wide anyway, so you don't have to work too hard doing that, but you can see him really soaring on the wheel if you're watching on the live stream or you're watching on the big screen here at Waimate. This is coming down to a pretty exciting conclusion. Gavin Jackson making moves there. Randall Dix trying to get around him, can't do it. Fleury just in front of them in the VW. Then we go back to the second of the Tiranas. The G-Man trying to get the power down on the small black Chevy in the Ron Sylvester Coupe, manages to do so. Clinging to that inside line is Brett Stewart from Motueka in the Renault. That's the battle at the front of the field for the moment. Let's see how this one's going to turn out. Originally scheduled to go over 6. Here comes Stevens making a bit of a dive. Can he get round the outside as they head down through the Scott Structural corner? Into the Pro Event chicane they go. Diggs has gone back into the front using the handling ability of the little Triple S Datsun under the Rollinson Engineering Bridge, heading towards the Lethwick Contracting corner. So there's laps still to go here, and it is Randall Diggs out in the front. Jams his foot hard on the throttle as he heads under the pedestrian bridge and up into Main Street once again. Lines it up for the 90-degree turn through the Harcourts corner and gets it wrong, and that allows Sylvester and Stewart and Bruce Brown to go through. So a problem there for Randall Diggs. He just got the timing a little bit wrong, was way too way off his line, and he did the sensible thing and got out of the way and let the quick boys go through. And done quicker at the moment than Brett Stevens in the Renault. Here's Herbie the Love Bug with the 53 number. This is Chris Fleury in the 1300S VW. So they're in danger of being lapped as the front runners get closer and closer. Sylvester still leads it. Brett Stevens is second. Gavin Jackson shuffled his way back into 3rd place now. We're on the last lap here at Waimate. This is the Ellerslie Farms Historic Saloons feature event. And Fleury in danger of being lapped here as he works his way around the Royal Tavern turn, down the short chute. Here's the race leader, just backing up the field a little bit. Brett Stephen once again looking for an inside run, can't find it. Through the Laurie Forestry chicane they go once again. They'll pop out onto Main Street. Is Sylvester going to claim a win here? The ex-New Zealand Trans Am champion about to swallow up the VW of Chris Fleury. Does so quite effortlessly. Once again, he's right up on the outside as he goes through the Scott Structural 90-degree turn, heading down towards the Pro Event chicane now, and then they'll be turning into the Rural Transport corner. Remember, they're running to the checkered flag. Is it going to be the oldest car in the field? That is the 1938 Chevy Coupe, run and made historic by Ron Sylvester. This is his son Grant at the wheel now. They call him the G-Man. Is the G-Man going to see the checkered flag first? Under the Rollison's Engineering Bridge they go, and it is Grant Sylvester carrying the day here in the Ellerslie Farms Invitational feature event. In second place, I think it might have been the Triumph of Gavin Jackson. I know Bruce Brown was in the mix as well. Well, it's been a hard road to hoe for Rob and the organisers to get side-by-side racing back here at the Waimate 50, but their persistence has certainly paid off. This is always a highlight of the weekend.
Number one would be the team at Waimati. I know we can't name them all, but Rob Aikman and the family, just incredible mission, and has hundreds of workers that assist and do a beautiful job. One thing also, to have everybody together, be it the motorbike crew, the drifting crew, the circuit crew, the rally crew, having everyone together in one spot, you won't find that anywhere else in New Zealand. So thank you very much, Waimati. Thank you to McEwen's for supported it for so long. And yeah, a massive thank you to all the other sponsors that have assisted, and of course all the assistants, all the helpers. We couldn't do it without you guys. So thank you very much. Thank you, Waimati. Beautiful.
And this is the man that has taken out the Ellerslie Farms Invitational feature. Now have a look at this. Anything the drifters can do, a 1938 Chevy can do as well.
A great victory for Grant Sylvester, the 60th running of the Waimate 50. Well, we'll be back shortly with the ITM Street Attack. You're watching the 2019 McEwen Petroleum Waimate 50 Motorsport Festival, where the concrete line streets offer up a gauntlet of Kiwi motorsport action, a real test of skill, and a challenge for man and machine, where even some of the best can get it wrong.
Fair bit of speed on turn, you'll just see the telltale lockup. Picked up the engine, 1300cc Suzuki. Oh, up on two wheels. Oh, what a shame, because that car is absolutely as straight as an arrow.
Tying in the Waimate 50 festivities each year is the Waimate ITM Street Attack, where drivers aim to set the fastest time around the 2.5 kilometre long street course. The Time Attack Sessions provides an accessible path to motorsport for everyone. There's no car too small or too big to pedal around here.
This is Eddie York from Auckland. He's a Jaguar connoisseur. This is an XJ40. Andy Lowe comes out in the Dick Johnson Racing replica Falcon AU in the Shell Helix colours. Done that a little bit different, wide on the exit of the hairpin. Again, these cars set up for circuit racing. Gravel hill climbs, bend sprints and things like that. It's got a mid-mounted Chev V8 in it. Handbrakes it under the pedestrian bridge, heads up the main street once again, down into Fleet Street he will go. Factory-built British racing car. We predicted it would be very fast around the Street Attack course. A giant killing performance we've seen from Kevin Sanderson in the Suzuki Hayabusa. That's a motorbike engine shoehorned into the Toyota Starlet, running all the advantages of the motorcycle, a 6-speed sequential gearbox.
Each driver competes for 5 timed runs around the Gymkhana style street sprint, where the fastest 10 drivers of the weekend move through into the top 10 shootout.
Up again and comes full-blooded sideways out onto Queen Street, heading up to the hairpin. Nicely done, but he just got a little bit close to the concrete than he probably wanted to.
Making the top 10 last year was New Zealand circuit racer Andy Duffin, back in the distinctive 3-rotor 20B powered Mazda FD-RX-7.
Yeah, it's great to be back, man. It's slippery though. Usual first day on a street course, you know, it's been used as a road up to here. So yeah, got to take it easy and sneak up on it, and the car feels really good.
Not only that, it's the 60th anniversary, and there's so much more to look at this year. How cool is that from you? Look at what you're paired up next to in the pits.
Yeah, it's amazing. You know, there's such a variety of cars in New Zealand. We don't realise until we get these events and all these cool things come out of the shed and we see them. But yeah, it's great to be part of this event.
Over 2 days of racing, the ITM Street Attack boils down to the top 10 fastest cars, where the McEwen Petroleum Ken's Top 10 shootout gets underway.
This man on your screen, Clark Proctor, heading down towards the finish line now, sub 2 minutes, so he moves up a spot. It is going to be a nail-biter to see who is going to come out on top. Oh, big lock up there from Brett Stevens, and that's definitely cost him.
There's a real mix of machinery in the top 10, from the pointy front-wheel drive hatchbacks to the wings and slicks, the four-wheel drives, the Mitsubishis and the Subarus. There was a big name missing from the top 10, with Hayden Paddon retiring early with mechanical issues in the Street Attack stages. The best of the rear-wheel drives was Andy Duffin in his spark-spinning RX-7. Back for another shot at the podium this year was Timaru's Daniel Lemberg, driving the iMix Concrete Nissan 370Z into third place.
Back out onto the flying finish here on Queen Street, 1:54.39.
Mate, we meet again. I thought I might be talking to you on the top step of the podium, 2 times second. That last one, it just looked a little bit untidy.
Yeah, I was giving it all I could, but you know, just wasn't enough. But still on the podium, so that's all right. Oh, and I beat Hayden Paddon, so pretty happy with that.
The next fastest man was Jeremy Beaton from Christchurch, driving the number 14 Mitsubishi Evo 3.
What's it going to be here for Jeremy Beaton? Have a look at the time as he flies through the flying finish, 1:53.64.
How good's this event? You've been coming here a while now.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's awesome. So many people come out and everybody gets into it. And when the cars, have issues, everybody lends a hand, gets into it. It's awesome.
Back on the top of the timesheets, though, was none other than defending Waimate 50 Street Attack champion Josh Mitchell. Based out of Christchurch, the Crow Sports Subaru Impreza WRX was the car to beat, setting a new lap record.
And out onto the flying finish. Are we going to see a better time than the 1:53? We do. 1:50. He goes better than the 1:51. He rewrites the record books here at the Waimate 50.
Back-to-back champion Josh Mitchell. How does that sound?
Oh, mate, it's pretty awesome. Dream come true, really. We put so many hours into the car and getting here and going fast. So, yeah, it's exactly like I dreamed it would be. It's awesome. It's massive, we just, like I say, we put so many hours into it. We think about it all year. We'll go away tomorrow and start thinking about next year. So, yeah, it's huge, really, to come here and have a weekend like we have. It's awesome.
There you go. What about that, folks? What a fantastic weekend we have had here, celebrating 60 years of motorsport around the streets of Waimate.
The McEwen Petroleum Waimate 50. With over 150 drivers and riders, in excess of 10,000 attendees for the 4-day Motorsport Festival. $1 million going straight back into the Waimate economy from this event each year. Since the filming of the 60th anniversary of the Waimate 50, New Zealand has lost one of its motor racing legends, Clark Proctor. Clark was well known for his incredible driving talent in Targa, rallying, speedway, touring cars, and much, much more. His iconic Ford Escort and his Formula 5000 entertained crowds across New Zealand and around the streets of Waimate, a winner of the Waimate Cup. Clark, we're going to miss you, mate.